flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for coming. First on the agenda, is there any, first I'd like to ask everybody, if you have cell phones, please silence them at this time. Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment on agenda items? If there is, please step up to the podium and state your name and address. Okay, seeing none, I'll move forward. Announcements. We will have an executive, or had an executive session 4/28/26 for personnel. And we will have an executive session tonight
for legal and personnel.
legal and personnel. Moving forward, consent agenda, April 15th meeting minutes, the wind plan review status, escrow releases, emergency services report, building and zoning, building permits, public works report, conservation committee report. And Greg, I'll ask you to read your treasurer's report, please.
Sure. For the general fund is $869,454.30. Highway 8 is $266,727.44. Open space is $1,104,899.01. The equipment fund is $30,292.32. Highway capital $152.10. The street light $38,729.87. The reserve fund, general fund reserve, is $533,445.65. Open space Manderfield is $41,436.27. Sewage maintenance fund is $227,766.12. Stormwater fund is $1,591.52, and the escrow funds are $988,185.43.
Okay, any questions?
No questions.
Okay,
No questions.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Motion's been made.
I will second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Okay, we do have 2 chairs open. If anybody wants to sit down, it's up to whoever's first.
All right, moving forward. Next on the agenda is confirmed appointments. Mr. Dean Rittenhouse, THP. Dean here?
I'm here.
You may step up to the podium, please. Yes, sir. You may start.
Are you gentlemen familiar with what we're here to talk about with the streetlights?
Yep.
Okay, very good. So just a couple of pieces that I would like to add to the email that I send in with the pictures. Our community, the Oakwood community, is a very private community in that basically everything in there is private. Streets are private, sidewalks, curbs, stormwater. The sewer is private. The only utility that's not there would be your electric, your gas, and your water. There's 7 total street lights in the community. We have no argument per se in terms of what Mr. Balla's email was that wound up coming out. The one comment I would make was the statement on the record plan did call out Red Oak Luminaire, which we don't know what that is. I believe Mr. Balla would probably be in agreement on that. It would have been the oak lantern, not the Red Oak Luminaire. I don't know that one of those exists. I would also like to state that we're not only a private drive, but we're connected to a private drive in the back. And our driveway off of the private driveway is about 770 feet off of Farmers Lane, center line of Farmers Lane back to center line of Oakwood Lane. That's based on a Google Maps takeoff. The lights that I supplied in the pictures were for a couple of reasons. Number one, they were simply the adjacent properties to where we're at right now. We were looking at Hidden Meadows, the assisted living. We were looking at Stone Ridge, I guess the Stone Ridge building, and then also St. Luke's Grandview on the other side. It was just a matter of showing the poles were all different. We had wood, we had aluminum, steel, and we had fiberglass. We had square, we had round, and then the heads were different as well as you wound up looking through them. The last picture that we had showed, or the last 2, was a picture from our development that showed what the street lights are that are installed. And then we also showed a picture from another community within West Rock Hill Township that had the same street lights. So the only common denominator among the lights that we had saw was that there really was no common denominator. Everything was somewhat different. In terms of whether or not you can even see any street lights from a public roadway would be arguable. If there's no leaves on the trees, you might be able to pick up one of the street lights. That would be on the corner of Oakwood Lane and Hidden Meadows Road. So that being said, we were seeking the opportunity to wind up leaving the street lights installed. We're not arguing the fact that Mr. Balla's email was incorrect. We were simply acknowledging none of us knew how we got to that point.
Okay. You done? Okay.
Except for questions.
Well, we have ordinances in place for a reason, right? And the ordinance clearly states the type of light that's supposed to be put there, right? Street light.
Is that correct, sir? Because I asked the question, were we dealing with a record plan item or were we dealing with an ordinance? And I was not given that information. I was given the information that it was a record planned item.
Greg, Steve, would you cite it or let me know what the ordinance?
Yeah, the ordinance doesn't specify the type of light.
Okay.
That's something that the township has requested in residential developments, more recent residential developments. And most developers have agreed to do that and have put it on the record plan. And it became a requirement of the plan. That's essentially what happened here.
Okay. Mr. Rice, any comments, concerns, questions?
I mean, I think the reason we have standards is to maintain the standards. My one question was, did you reach out? You obviously reached out to Steve for clarification. I don't know if it's easier to, I guess the easiest question is, how many light poles are there?
7.
7. So it'd be a matter of replacing the 7 on top of the piers that are poured there that I'm looking at the pictures of.
Yeah, there are not piers on those
I
lights.
guess the one.
They're direct bury.
Yeah, so they're ground. Okay, so they just bolted down to the ground.
They're just directly buried into the ground. There's no fastening into the ground.
What keeps them from being knocked over easily if somebody were to run into them?
Besides the fact that they're buried?
Yeah. Nothing.
That I don't know. I mean, the community that you have in West Rockville Township that's been there for some period of time, Steve would probably have a good indication of how long it's been there. None of the poles are leaning.
Okay.
I sent you a picture of the one. There was 4
Yep.
of those lights within the community.
I see
They
it.
look great.
I mean, those types of poles, PPL's design standard is direct bury. So it's PPL who determines whether it needs a foundation or not. And those particular, lamppost style does not require a foundation.
And just for clarity, for anybody who watches this in the future, anybody who doesn't know, this is Lawn Avenue, right where Farmers Lane comes in, and you zigzag off behind before you get to Hidden Meadows Drive and before you get to the lower location. So it's right after the St. Luke's, it's their Human Services Building or Human Resources Building, and all the way back on the right side. So now there are a whole bunch of lights out there. I don't think they all match. So I don't think it's a big issue because nobody except the people who are there are going to see them.
Well, I do think that they should be changed to the lights that should be there. However, we have 3 supervisors. Mr. Rice?
I would say, honestly, if we're going forward, we should have the standard and stay with the standard. I mean, it's 7 lights. I know it's, it's an additional cost, but I think probably more clarification could have been done, and maybe, we have to update the ordinance that would clarify that. So instead of just being on the plan, it would actually be within the ordinance. Makes sense.
I hear you, but I'm not 100% certain what you stated.
Yes, I would like to see the standard implemented. Yeah.
He would like to see what I had asked for is to have the lights changed to the lights that should be there. So you'll be changing out the 7 lights.
Okay. The part that I didn't understand was you said you would like to see some clarification on it moving forward.
Oh, that was for us. I was gonna
Okay.
say, as far as the ordinance, sorry, I didn't mean to, confuse you there.
The other piece, would the board give any consideration to the fact that the note on the plan says the boulevard post with the red oak luminaire?
Essentially, there's a typo on the plan for the type of luminaire.
The typo?
Yeah, there is no red oak,
Okay.
but there is.
So we will acknowledge there was a typo?
Right, but you still, it was
Still-
intended to have the boulevard post
Right.
with the glass luminaire.
Was a typo in the
On the record plan.
record. So instead of red oak luminaire, it was supposed to be oak line.
Acorn.
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 Acorn is the actual.
Okay. I think that the goal should be changed. And I'll actually make a motion to that effect. Mr. Rice, I guess,
Yeah, I would like
Yeah,
to, see-
agreed.
I would like to see them just so that we, remain
would you,
moving standard.
would you want to second that motion?
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion's been made and second. All in favor? Aye?
No.
Nay?
Nay.
You're nay, okay. The ayes carry, okay, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep. Okay. Moving forward, next on the agenda is committee reports. Planning Commission report is first.
Good evening.
Hello, Mr. Swerdlock, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
The Planning Commission met last Tuesday, May the 12th. We had two projects on the agenda for the meeting. First was the community at Rock Hill. They presented a sketch plan for an expansion to their facility on State Road. There were three parts to their expansion plan. A 12,766 square foot, one-story expansion to their skilled nursing unit, which is near the front of the building on State Road. The second were two new independent living buildings on East Old State Road. These buildings are planned to be 4 stories in height, not connected to their existing buildings. The two new buildings are planned to house 36 housing units each. The third is a 9,500 square foot auditorium is planned, connecting the two open ends of their current horseshoe-shaped building configuration. This presents a potential access issue for the fire department. Areas concerned with the plan include the percentage of open space remaining after construction, walking trails. Are the existing trails sufficient or is more required? Building configuration and parking requirements. The applicant will meet with the fire marshal to discuss emergency access, particularly related to the placement of the auditorium, closing off access to a portion of their facility. Zoning hearing board meeting will be scheduled to address the requested variances. A new traffic study will be performed to consider the potential new traffic as a result of the new living units, and a new stormwater management plan will be developed. Any questions on that one?
I have none.
I did have one comment that I know that their new location is actually fairly close to what's been proposed for an extension for the Liberty Bell Trolley Trail, which goes along the old section. So if you go right across, basically if you stop across the street from Old State Road, then you're pretty close to where they're talking about trying to extend a rail with trail, because right now they only use one side of the rail. So I did think that was that might be something to at least look into with, I think it's mostly Montgomery County Planning Commission is the one really taking over the trail, because it's mostly over so they're thinking about getting it up until, because it runs up until this Hatfield. And it's on road. They're still trying to move it up, but that might be a nice opportunity to have, trail that would get you into the center of Sellersville or the center of Telford and connect to the Grundy House or the senior citizen living off in Telford, and then also to Sellersville. That might be a nice way of connecting things. But otherwise, yeah, listened to the planning commission meeting, so I know you guys had a long meeting and went through and really hashed through it. So thank you.
Our second project was Simram Properties, who presented a sketch plan for 1000 Bethlehem Pike. This is the corner of Ridge Road and Bethlehem Pike. The plan is for a 10-position gas station with a 4,000 square foot convenience store. The site borders both residential and other commercial properties. Concern for this project is the project an E8 service station with a convenience store or an E9 convenience store that also sells gas. This affects the allowed size of the convenience store permitted, the number of parking spaces, and most importantly, the lot size. The proposed lot size is 0.92 acres, accounting for the ultimate right-of-way on Ridge Road and Bethlehem Pike. This is less than the 1 acre requirement for an E8 use and the 2 acre requirement for an E9 use. It was recommended that the zoning officer be consulted to get clarity on the correct use designation. The location at the corner of Ridge Road and Bethlehem Pike could potentially raise traffic issues. The applicant is proposing a right-in, right-out on Ridge Road and full turning access on Bethlehem Pike. Given that there are minimum shoulders on Ridge Road and no left-hand turn lane, could be an issue. The movement of large vehicles into and out of the site would also be affected by potential future PennDOT road widening. A traffic study will be needed. Other variances being requested include buffering requirements bordering private residences, the lot width on both road frontages, building within 1,000 feet of private wells, underground fuel storage tanks, impervious surface coverage, the outdoor trash collection location, and electronic sign colors, red and green for gas and diesel prices near an intersection. Waivers being requested include allowing road access from both roads rather than just the lesser of the two, the need for sidewalks, aerial survey mapping, and stormwater management design. Any questions on that one?
Nope.
It's good to see something moving on that after time.
You guys definitely did your due diligence on that one. I appreciate that.
We beat it up pretty good. Also, during the public comment at our meeting, a resident did come to express their concern about the potential for a data center within the township. Steve, did I miss anything?
No.
Any other questions?
It's all good.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval on the planning commission report.
Make that.
Motion's been made.
I will second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, next up on the agenda is the Park and Rec report. Jody, how are you tonight?
How are you guys?
Good.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to introduce myself every time. I am Jody Couture. I took the place of Dave back in January, I believe. Still filling in shoes very
You
slowly.
did a great job.
So the Planning Commission, thank you. Park and Rec. There was 4 trees planted, red scarlet oak. The Girl Scouts were wonderful. Was it 2 weeks ago? We had Arbor Day. I believe Brenda is here somewhere. Oh, hey, Brenda. Brenda was awesome and opened up the Heritage House. I recommend if anyone loves this area, that is a great, great place. Dave and I took a tour. Great place. The girls, from what I understand, Arbor Day last year was only 2 girls. And it's all, of course, open to all the public. But this year it was 20 girls. So it's really cool. A lot of, people and community trying to get together. At the end, I know there was like this QR code that the girls could get samplings. Saplings, not samplings. That would not be good. It'd be saplings. And then they had s'more roasting. So awesome. The girls were great, and all these different parts of the park were used. That's what we have the park for. Septemberfest. I don't know if you all know about Septemberfest. I hope you do. It is September 27th. It is a Sunday, last Sunday of every Sunday it is. It's 12 to 4. We have a ton of stuff already coming. I don't know if you all were there last year. My brother-in-law did barbecue. He is coming back. It is quite amazing. We have a couple of cool things maybe possibly coming up. We're still working on a couple things. Feature film and fire. We're trying to shoot for October 17th. Hopefully it doesn't rain. My kids, I have 2 teenage girls, one 15, one 16. And yes, they chose Finding Dory or Finding Nemo. So I'm excited. Usually we have popcorn and water and all that fun stuff. So again, we want everyone to use the park. It is a huge accomplishment that we have had. And then, I don't know if y'all have dogs or not, the one dog park is done. It is beautifully done. Morrissey and Son did it. Great people to work with. There's a couple things that we need to shake out over there because there's like a little gully for runoff water. So hopefully maybe the next couple of days, if it is raining, we can figure out how to your dogs and your feet not to get wet. The other fence will be in the future. That is our plan for the next hopefully year or so to redo that so we can separate dogs, or if you want your own space or whatever. But the new fence, I don't know if y'all saw it or not, it has like a little meeting ground. So if you want other dogs to sniff each other or whatever through a fence, so there's little meeting point. And anything else for you guys? Do you have any questions?
Nope.
No.
Well, looks
You're
good.
doing a good job.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, too, I am the person on Facebook. If you see anything on Sellersville or Percy site about updates or whatever else is going on, that is me. Okay. Oh, and also, too, I am also the library lady. Actually, it should be for my children, but I kind of took over. So if anyone has any children's books, because they are like eaten during this type of weather, you can find me on that Facebook. I am there. Anyway, thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, Jody. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the Park and Rec report.
I'll make a motion.
Motion's been made.
I will second it.
Second. Thank you, gentlemen. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Next on the agenda coming up here is the Penn Regional Police Department report. Mr. Chief Dickinson, how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. How are you, sir?
Great. Thanks.
All right, gentlemen. October 2026 activity report for the Penn Ridge Regional Police Department. The police department responded to 731 calls in the month of April. 315 were in East Rock Hill Township, 395 were here in West Rock Hill Township, and 21 of those calls were assisting our neighboring agencies. The police department has handled 15 traffic crashes in the month of April. 5 of those were reportable, 10 of them were non-reportable, with 7 occurring in East Rock Hill Township and the remaining 8 occurring here in West Rock Hill Township. Our criminal activity for the month of April included 13 crimes against property, 4 crimes against persons, 2 crimes against society, and 11 Group B offenses, which are your more minor offenses. Those reported crimes include, in East Rock Hill Township, 5 reports of harassment, 1 report of drug possession, 1 DUI crash, a burglary, a motor vehicle theft, a fraud, an unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, threats, and 1 theft. In West Rock Hill Township, the reported crimes included 3 reports of harassment, 1 report of fraud, 2 trespassing complaints, 4 theft complaints, 1 case of possession of child pornography, 1 DUI, 1 unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, a burglary, and a drug possession. The criminal charges that we filed in the month of April included 6 charges of harassment, 4 charges of criminal trespass, 4 charges of underage drinking, 1 DUI charge, 1 charge of loitering and prowling at night, 3 charges of receiving stolen property, 3 charges of theft, 1 theft of a motor vehicle charge, 1 unauthorized use of a motor vehicle charge, drug possession, possession of drug paraphernalia, 2 forgery charges, 2 theft of movable property, and 1 violation of the dog law. The other police activities that we did in the month of April included 195 traffic enforcement details. The department issued 125 traffic citations, 130 traffic warnings, conducted 26 school checks, 106 park checks, 56 business checks, and officers participated or attended in 820 hours of training in the month of April. So far for the year of 2026, the police department has handled 2,872 calls for service, responded to and investigated 104 traffic accidents, investigated 150 offenses, filed 92 criminal charges, and have attended or participated in 1,446 hours of training for the year of 2026. And that would be your April 2026 Penn Regional Police
Any questions for Chief?
report.
Questions? Thanks, Chief.
Great job,
No
Chief.
questions.
I want to commend you on the accreditation that
Thank
you
you.
accomplished.
Thank you.
That's a very good job.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
So with that, I will entertain a motion for approval
I'll make a
of the
motion.
Chief's report.
I will second.
Motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Thanks,
Thank you.
Chief.
Your picture looked good in the accreditation photo. You had the white shirt on, you were all, man, I was impressed. I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure you.
Okay, next on the report is the Joint Rec Authority report.
Hello,
Hello, Angela.
how's everyone doing?
Great. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad tonight. All right. So for the joint rec donations, most of our sponsors that we had, with their signs, we've received donations again from them this year. We've had a couple new ones, not many, but a couple. And we started selling sponsor benches this year. So, sold a couple of them so far. Contracts, we've received contracts from all the camps that we had last year, including Riverside YMCA. They are also going to be coming in and having some more swimmers an additional hour. So we're going to be receiving another contract for them to do that as well. We just haven't received that, but that's some more swimming camps, I guess you want to say, that are coming. The repairs and the painting is done. The slides installed, the painting's done. The pool is filled. As of this morning, it is completely filled. We have somebody that's going to be getting it all ready for us, cleaning it up and getting it all ready. So we'll be ready for the slide, the fundraiser this weekend. I hope takes place because of the rain, but we will be having a penguins dip, I guess you want to say, slide going on this weekend. So this Saturday, if anybody wants to come out, we're asking for donations to Liz's Closet. So if you bring something for Liz's Closet, you can go down the new slide. The penguin's going to take the first slide down though. Bocce ball. We have a bocce ball court that really is not used and it needs help. It's seen better days. So we called the people that did sponsor it and we've spoke to them. They are okay with us removing that, and they may purchase a bench as well in place of that. So we're hoping that'll happen. There was a gazebo donated to us, and that has been placed on the patio outside of the pool. Looks great, and we had guys volunteer to install it. So thank you very much to one of them. I know one of them's here. So they did a hard work that day, and we appreciate it very much. Cleanup day. We had cleanup day the 16th. Most of the work was done on cleanup day. Our grant committee is looking at getting a grant from Univest in order to put sunshades up at the bocce ball court. Fundraising committee. We had a dine and donate. I do not have the totals for that with me. When I did this, we didn't get them in yet. But we had that at the Horse.
I think it was 750.
I was going to say, I think it was like about close to 800,
730,
something like that.
750.
Yeah. And we were supposed to have lifeguards walking in the parade, but I guess that's canceled. So, snack stand we have received a contract. We have somebody that ran it before is coming back. Emma's coming back to run the snack stand for us again this year. So we're looking forward to that as well. And then I do have I received something from someone that's a patron at the pool, as well as, she's a patron as well as a resident in the area, that I'd like to read as well. It's kind of a follow-up from the last meeting. She watched the YouTube video and wanted to address something. So, she mentioned about me, when I did ask about the distribution of the yearly funds for the pool. You said that you gave us $290,000. So she wanted to kind of clarify this so that people don't get the wrong impression. This money was not given to us. This $290,000 was in consideration to purchase, which we had purchased, or excuse me, you had purchased from us a conservation easement and a declaration of covenants in April of last year of 2025, which restricts the use of the property owned by the authority. The township paid for the easement just as they would have done a residence conserved property within the township. So the $290,000 was a payment by the township to acquire open space to benefit the township and its residents. And so she wanted to address that because that did kind of sound like you just gave us the money and you did not. We did sign an agreement. We did sign a conservation easement and you bought that from us. So that was a purchase. So one thing I want to address again is, I know I've mentioned before, every township or every pool in townships and areas in this vicinity gets funding from their local townships or boroughs. They either get it from the township or borough, or they get it from their electric company that helps pay towards the pool. And we were hoping to keep use that funds for improvements, for when we get grants, when we have to match. We're trying not to touch that fund any more than what we have. We tried to make improvements like every business to bring more business in. You have to spend money to make money. That's what we were trying to do. Like I said, we've made several improvements and we're trying to keep it running with what we have, but the past 2 years, the economy's really been rough, and this year's even harder yet. So we're still having people come in. We've had several people that come up to us and signed up. They said it's cheaper to join our pool than it is some of the local pools where they live. So we don't have final numbers yet because people are still signing up. So I'll have that for you next time. I hope it's increased. I don't know if it will, because again, I know there's a lot of hardships with people, because we've had several families that reached out to us and stated that. They said they have hardships, but one of the things you pointed out, the park across the street, when you did the derby, you kept on saying it's all about the kids. It's all about the kids. That's what this pool is. It's all about the kids. We're doing this for the kids. We're doing it for the community. And we're trying to continue to do this, but we do need help to keep it going. And the volunteers are putting in a lot of hours with no pay. We're doing it just for the community. And, so I'm just asking for support from my own township to help with this pool, as other townships do and boroughs do. That's all. So, I think about my grandkids that go there. I think about other people's grandkids that go there. And that's all I want to see them. They enjoy this. We've had several families this year that reached out to us that tell us that they have special needs kids, and they come to this pool because of their special needs kids, because this pool can accommodate their swimming, their treatment and stuff that they need, which is great. So,
Well, we encourage you to continue to try to sell more tickets, season tickets. As you know, I purchased a season ticket.
I do.
Before,
I
and we
appreciate that.
raffled it off at the Kids Fishing Derby. So there's a lucky family that got a season pass
Yeah.
for the pool. That's the only thing I can add to that at this time. So thank you for your report.
All right. Thank you.
Picked up and ran before we got the name.
Angela, I was just gonna ask you, so what are the sponsor benches? What's the cost?
The sponsor, is it 8 or 850? I'm sorry,
I
I'm
think
not.
we're at 850.
I was
for
going to
the
say, I think we
benches.
increased it to 850 so we'd make some money off of it. But
Yeah, surprisingly, concrete benches are not cheap. I
yeah.
know we have that for.
Well, these aren't we actually got ones that are
Fiberglass,
made
yeah.
of recycled products. It's better for the environment, so we're making a little bit of profit off them, not a whole lot, but we're making money off them.
And we did have a thank you bonus to the
Oh, yes.
members who helped. Because back in 1967, when everything was set up, all of our paperwork is run through Selza Borough. So we did have thank you to the borough who does all the processing, and they've been doing the accounting for us and doing payroll and taking care of all of that. We now have rec desks so that you can go online and sign up rather than having to fill out paper. So we're trying to take as much aggravation away from running the pool as we can from
Yeah.
the borough. But we still have the borough road crew comes up and helps out with getting the pool put together and having North Bend Water Authority in. So thank you, North Bend Water Authority, for
Yes.
to fill up the pool.
Mike Bush has been great.
And you said next month we'll have a number, an accurate number as
Yeah,
far as how
yeah.
many.
She gave it to us this month, but like I said, she still said she had applications she was
Okay.
putting in. So
Thank you.
And we are looking, and we believe that we have somebody who's going to be trying to work with West Rock Hill Elementary. to make a nice
Yes,
event for the kids.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
So, and we have
Alright.
a couple groups too that rented out the pool as well.
Yeah, and we also have the yoga is coming back and the
Zumba.
Aqua Zumba is coming back. That's up on the Facebook page. And the Facebook page is also linked, as you can go to the West Rock Hill Township page or through the Sellsville Borough page. Both of them will get you to links with the information to sign up and to join and to help out. And we have a fundraising committee and we also have a grants committee.
Yep.
So there are 3 people appointed from West Rock Hill and 3 people appointed from the borough. And we also have volunteers who have also come in. And so we now have a fundraising committee. We have a working meeting, a grounds committee. We have a grants committee. So if anybody is good at any of those, please let us know because we're looking for help for anybody.
Can I ask, I don't think you announced the date of, you said this weekend. What is the day that the pool is going to be open?
Oh, officially open is
Yeah.
is Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
Do you have
We're
any
doing
other
the penguin
questions?
plunge because the water is going to be cold.
Yeah, it will be.
So everybody
Actually,
can come out.
today I almost ready to jump in. It was hot out there.
Yeah, today's like 90.
Yeah, it was
90s.
hot.
It was great.
So,
All right, with
It's
that,
good.
I'll entertain thank you. I'll
Okay, thank
entertain a
you.
motion for approval for the,
So moved.
record report. Motion's been made. Second.
I'll second that.
Finally beat
All
you.
those signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank
Aye.
you. Thanks again. All right, next on the agenda is the tax collector report. Suzanne Clark. Suzanne here?
And did not make it tonight. I'll give the report for the month of May so far. $19,343.57 for the month of May. The interims were $15.19, and the 2025 interims was $49.60.
Any questions?
No questions.
Okay.
No questions.
I'll make a motion for approval.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Second. Motion made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, moving forward, next on the agenda, engineers report, Mr. Steve Balla.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's actually no items under my specific report, but I'll entertain any questions if anybody has.
Anybody have any questions for Steve?
I don't have any questions.
Nope.
I guess, is it difficult to standardize for the streetlights? Or is that just, would that be resolution or would that be just something we add in?
It would, I mean, to put it in the subdivision ordinance would be an ordinance amendment, but I assume you could do it by motion to just to have something on record.
Okay.
Until that-
Attachment to the ordinance or something like that. Any clarification? It's always a term.
Okay,
Okay.
Would that have to be an agenda item?
yeah,
Just want to make sure.
okay.
I guess. you
Anything
can-
else?
You can amend the agenda, but it's usually have to be the first part of it. So we'll have to look at that.
Is there anything else for Steve?
Okay.
No other questions?
Okay, thank you. So we'll move forward. Next on the agenda is the solicitor report. Mr. Keeley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first item tonight is to introduce and ask you for permission to authorize the advertisement of the first amendment to our data center zoning ordinance, which we adopted last month in April. I recognize a lot of familiar faces, so welcome back. So tonight, we're not going to be doing the same exact thing that we did in April procedurally. Tonight's not a public hearing whether or not to adopt the ordinance. Tonight is to introduce the ordinance, and in a little bit, I'll go through the proposed changes that are contained within this amendment. And then if the board does vote to authorize the introduction and advertisement of this amendment to our data center zoning ordinance, we'll publish it to the website tomorrow for the public. We'll also send it out to the newspaper, the Intelligencer, and it'll be available for public inspection. Because we need to provide the county and the township planning commissions with at least 30 days to review it and provide us their comment. The public hearing on this amendment, assuming the board introduces it tonight, is going to be heard at the meeting on July 15th at 7 p.m. We haven't, as of now, the location will be in this room, so I'll state that, but I don't know if that's going to be subject to change or not, but it will be July 15th at 7 p.m. So there's still no applications or proposed data centers in this township, not on Cat Hill Road, not anywhere else. So we're still in the same situation we have been. We have no pending applications for a data center. And the whole point of introducing and fine tuning and increasing these restrictions and regulations on these data centers preemptively is that if any data center applicant ever came to the township because they wanted to build one, they would be subject to very stringent standards. So at this point, I'll kind of summarize what the amendments, the add-ons, and the changes are from the version that is on the books today. So first, as to subsection C, and there are substantial amendments, I'll state. It's pretty significant and comprehensive, as you'll see, assuming the board does vote to introduce it. But I'll start on section C, dimensional standards. The minimum site area was previously 25 acres. We're proposing now to increase that to 35 acres. The minimum lot width at street lines is currently 350 feet, but we're proposing increasing that to 750 feet. The side, front, and rear yard setbacks were simply the ones that are applicable to the PI district, the planned industrial district at large, were in our original ordinance, but now we're proposing a minimum front yard, side yard, and rear yard setback of at least 400 feet from any lot line that adjoins any residential zoning district. So that would be residential conservation, residential agriculture, suburban residential, village residential, or mobile home park. Otherwise, if it doesn't border a residential district, the setback would be 200 feet. We've added a maximum lot coverage of 60%, and that's total, not just impervious, but that's total lot coverage. And the minimum parking area setbacks where abutting a residential zoning district are increased to 200 feet. Currently, they're at 150 feet. Moving on to subsection D for sound, we've done substantial revisions to that as well, or we're proposing those, requiring a sound study. Previously, the ordinance incorporates the existing noise ordinance and its limits, which provided for 79 decibels at day and 72 decibels at night. But now we've proposed a 65 decibel per day during the weekdays and holidays. Weekdays, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then also 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekends and holidays, and then 55 decibels at night. However, anywhere abutting a residential district would have to be no greater than 55 decibels at any time of day. It would require phases for sound studies. So we would require a preliminary sound study to be submitted as part of the application for special exception to the zoning hearing board. And the township would have the right to reject or refuse to accept any application that didn't have this preliminary sound study that would show compliance with our ordinance. After that, it would be at the end of the project, an as-built sound study would be required that would prove that the way that they build it actually lines up with the way the preliminary sound study came out. So if the as-built sound study does not match or is violating the ordinance in some way, the township would have the right to refuse issuance of a certificate of occupancy for any data center that was built. That would mean that the building will not be able to be used by anybody until they bring it into compliance with the ordinance. Furthermore, if there is ever a data center that would be up and running, if they violate the sound limits, it would be prosecuted as a violation of the zoning ordinance. And there are pretty significant monetary and injunctive penalties that we can get through that. So that is generally the amendments to the sound portion of it. I'll move to subsection F, utilities. Up front, we would require, as part of the special exception application, the will serve letters, as well as a water and wastewater feasibility study and an electricity or power feasibility study. They would generally need to prove that supply is adequate. There will be no impact, no adverse impact on the township or any surrounding municipalities. It would be required, again, as I said, as part of the upfront application. It prohibits any extraction of groundwater or aquifer water or anything surface water. And both studies would require verification by the applicant signing the feasibility studies that any false statements made as part of the studies will be punishable as unsworn falsification to authorities. If any of these studies were to find that improvements were required, the ordinance would require the developer to install and improve and make all of those improvements at their own expense. And that would be as a condition, prerequisite to zoning approval. Moving on to subsection I. Now we are at height of the building. We've restructured that to be clearer that no part or component of a data center or data center equipment can exceed 35 feet in height as measured from the ground. So that would include anything attached to the building, any antennas, anything on top, solar panels, whatever. The height would be at a maximum 35 feet. This next one is new, subsection J for landscape buffering. The zoning already provides for landscape buffering, but in where a residential zone has a border with an industrial zone, the current buffer it required is a type 1 buffer, but we are suggesting a type 2 buffer, which is actually much thicker and more of a visual block to what is behind that buffer. So we would be proposing a type 2 buffer, which is our thickest type of buffer in the township for anywhere that the data center abuts a residential zoning district. Otherwise, they would have to do the type 1 buffer anywhere that borders against an industrial or commercial district. Now for lighting, subsection K, before we simply referred to our light ordinance, but now we distinguish between horizontal surface lighting, non-horizontal surfaces, nearby residential uses. The glare going on to or in that direction cannot exceed at any time 1/10 of a foot candle, which is a particular unit of measurement used for measuring how strong light is. For nearby non-residential uses, it would not exceed half of a foot candle. Glare provisions, we've added that landscape buffers, the buffers you just heard about, cannot serve as the primary means for controlling glare. The building would need to have all kinds of shields and baffles and other physical blockages of that glare to prevent any glare from going anywhere off that property. If LED lights are being used, the color temperature would not exceed 3000 K, which is Kelvin. So it's not bright blue, bright white. It would have to be that softer yellowish light if they're going to use that. And then any light fixtures can't be mounted higher than 20 feet above the finished grade of the surface being illuminated. Next is subsection L. This is also new. It's a subsection that requires that any system that uses any liquid for the cooling of a data center or equipment or accessories have to employ strictly closed loop technology that will not release any liquid, steam, or vapor by leaking or spilling any release at all, which would cause a discharge of any coolant liquid, whether it's water or a mixture of water and something else or something else entirely from the inside of the system to the outside of the system. That is a strong requirement of this. That was something, of course, very important to add to this. So closed loop systems are, and I'll just mention that it's not necessarily in this subsection, but any used coolant, I know that it's been said that the closed loop system is a myth because at some point the coolant will need to be flushed. It'll need to be taken out, removed. It's got to go somewhere. I just want to mention that any used coolant is under state law considered industrial waste. So you can't just dump that into the creek. You can't spill it outside. You can't flush it down the toilet or down a drain, send it to the sewer plant. If the proposal would be to send any of this wastewater to the Penridge wastewater treatment plant or another wastewater treatment plant, they are required by the EPA and the DEP and local ordinances to comply with an industrial pretreatment program, which is where on site, before they even send anything to the wastewater treatment plant, they need to do their own treatment to that material to remove any toxins, make it not hazardous, and make it basically the same as municipal waste. Generally, all discharge across the board has to comply with the Clean Streams Law. So there can't be any discharge of any hazardous or industrial materials into the environment, as I said. And any discharge into a stream, if that's what they're going to propose, they would have to go through the DEP to get an NPDES permit, which would give them permission to discharge into the waters of the Commonwealth, which I would think would be highly unlikely for a data center to receive that approval. So moving on, for subsection P, now on-site energy generation, it'll require a safety plan in place, which we're gonna, it'll require a safety plan in place, which it has its own requirements, which will be contained in the ordinance, but I won't recite verbatim now. Estimated economic impact, we've added that subsection Q. They need to submit that as part of their application, a good faith estimate of costs they think the community is going to incur. Moving on to, we deleted provisions for phased developments and individual site plans that would be part of a bigger data center campus. We're just taking out that provision altogether. And finally, subsection R for decommissioning. We've adding or proposing that decommissioning must not only include solar panels, but all of the on-site energy generation, storage equipment, structures, accessory equipment, data center equipment, basically all the equipment that's there other than the building itself. And that would require deposit of escrow with the township to make sure that if the developer or the owner of the property decided to just leave town and not remove anything, the township could use that escrow money for that purpose, and be able to effectuate the cleanup and lien the property if necessary. So generally, Board of Supervisors, that is the summary of the proposed changes in our what we'll call our first amendment to our data center ordinance, which we have in front of you as ordinance number 257. At this point, that concludes my introduction of the ordinance. Turn it over to the board. If we want public comment or board discussion, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So everyone knows we took a lot of input that the residents gave us from our last month's meeting to incorporate a lot of these things that we put in here. And we're trying to cover it and make sure that we have the township and the residents protected. And I think Mr. Keatley did a pretty good job of what he just explained. So if there is any comment regarding the amendments that we're starting with this first amendment, I would entertain someone to come up to the podium and make a comment if you would so choose.
I also want to mention at this point, when we get further along in the agenda under Mr. Lippencott's report for this meeting, there is an item that discusses formation of a West Rock Hill Township Citizens Board, as some of the public comment indicated interest in. So that'll be addressed later on this meeting for possibly forming that citizens board. So I just wanted to mention that as well. And again, we will have the public hearing on this where, just like last month, we'll take a lot of comment, as much comment as there is in the July meeting. So you can make comments now if you like, or you can reserve them until we come back in July, or if you want to volunteer for the citizens board, it's really up to you. So as Mr. Chairman said, if anybody has public comment, I think the board's willing to take.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brodeur.
Michael Broder, 907 Cat Hill Road, only part 1. When you were describing coolant, I just want to make sure there's a clarification and a distinction between a coolant versus an antimicrobial agent. Pharmaceutical systems use antimicrobial agents, not coolants, for keeping microbial blooms from occurring. That's a common fouling system, because you may be dealing with the data system that has fine interstitial areas. They're trying to keep cool for surface areas. They need to keep that water very clean. I don't know what exactly you have with regards to that discharging of that agent and where that would come under play with your water treatment facilities, that they would be able to handle that. Merck Pharmaceutical has its own treatment facility, just an FYI. With regards to the sound testing, and I noticed you talk about landscaping 1 and 2. I would strongly advise you put a legal disclaimer and say whatever plan that is approved is still incumbent upon the person building that while they do their initial testing, the final test, despite what may be proposed or required by West Rock Hill, you're not on the hook of violating your own ordinances. It's incumbent upon their engineers to come through it. And I didn't hear the one proposed suggestion of have an independent engineer assess the plan. I'm surprised I didn't hear that. So
I didn't mention every single.
I gave you 6 pages.
There is that you'll see that's part of it. The township does have the ability to employ somebody to do an independent evaluation of this kind of thing.
Okay, greatly appreciate that. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? How you doing?
Good. Scott Regal, 4302 Barn Road. So I heard that we did cover a number of things, and I also heard that we have to give the county 30 days for review, and then there's a review July 15th. Does that mean that we have an opportunity to make additional amendments, say before June 15th, so that they still have 30 days before July 15th, if there's something that might need to be added or amended to this current version?
That's a legal question.
I think our June meeting's the 17th, I think. So it's within 30 days. So, I mean, you can always submit public comment at any time, really, in any form to the board or to me or the manager. But
even by email, you could send an email.
Yeah, no, I absolutely have exercised that. So my question is, so for instance, we're going to have a board our citizens board to help make additional amendments. And there's a lot of smarter people in here than me, but I believe that there are it's a learning process like anything else. We're going to see some things that are lacking and we could contribute to that. So I'm just looking at the timelines. This meeting on the July 15th, is that like a final stamp by the county? I'm assuming.
So the July 15th hearing would be just like what we did on April 15th last month, where everybody comes in and if they wish to give public comment before the board votes to adopt the ordinance, everybody can do that.
Right.
But it would be up for adoption on July 15th.
Gotcha.
If the board, based on the comments that were received, wanted to make what's called substantial amendments to that draft that's been introduced, we would just have to re-advertise it at least 10 days out for another hearing, at which point adoption would be considered.
So we do have some opportunity because this is going to be posted tomorrow, so we can go through this. But we do have opportunities before the final adoption to make some amendments. So there are some things that I think we could touch on, which was the sound. There's a number of problems with infrasound. Infrasound is anything below 20 decibels. And there's specific examples of issues with infrasound. Prince William County, South Jersey, Chandler, Arizona, Grimes County, Texas. There's also, I believe, problems with air issues that we should take a look at. And there is a good page worth of air issues currently. And then also heat issues that we have to look at. So there's some additional boxes we may need to put around there. There was a lot of discussion about the impact to the service rates. And I know there's still some debate here, but I spoke to PJM today. I spoke to PP&L, and I actually spoke to the PUC. And so basically, nobody could give me a really good answer. But
2.5 minutes are up.
So the question is, how do they determine the service areas? Because I believe currently in PJM, we are in the Upper Bucks, Quakertown service area, which is 120 megawatts. If we put in a 10, 20, or 30 megawatt system, it's going to have an 8% to 25% impact on our service rates, I believe. Again, jury's still out. So my question actually for the PUC today was, could we put the data center in its own service area? Because if you put it in its own service area, then it doesn't affect us at all. So I'm just throwing that one against the wall. And I think, again, it's going to be a learning process as we go through. So I'm looking forward to seeing the update. And I certainly want to be on the citizens board. And again, I know there's some smarter people out here that could help with this. So I would look for some assistance too. So.
Yeah, I remember somebody at the last meeting in April mentioned different ways to measure decibels. There's like a decibel A scale and a decibel C scale for different frequencies of sound. That's much more scientific than what I can really, what we could really, I guess, nail down for this second version. So I would anticipate that'll be something to be fine-tuned for the next version or versions through the Citizens Committee, things like sound. And the other things that you mentioned, Mr.
Yeah, this is a long vibration and stuff. I'd have to bring myself up to speed with that as well. So,
and then with service areas, I did look into the PJM interconnect service areas and service rates, and I couldn't find anything how they describe what service areas are. So at least for this draft, that's why we said impacts on the township and any surrounding municipalities or adjacent municipalities. Because other than that, I didn't see any service area that's delineated by PPL or PJM, really.
yeah, nobody could tell me how the service areas are defined.
Yeah.
So PJM, PPL, PUC.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I do want to share a comment that he just stated about the no increase or cost to residents. It's my wish, and Mr. Keatley, if we could, I would like to make it in the ordinance that the rates, the electricity rates would not be affected to the residents if there was ever a data center put forth in this township.
If it's in its own service area, it will not.
That if we can't do that, I still would like to make
like
it so that the residents are not affected and their rates will not go up because of the data center, the amount of usage of electricity that the data center would require.
There was one other thing about fire or support, police support, fire support, and I don't know if that made its way into some of the amendments, but that was certainly a concern
it kind of works its way in with the safety plan requirement for that. So yeah, I think that's a separate thing that'll probably get introduced next month. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Anybody else? Mr. Clymer? Yep.
My name is Paul Clymer, 12 Farmers Lane. I just want to extend congratulations to the Board of Supervisors for listening to the people and for trying to put forth an amendment that's going to protect our community. Obviously, there's still some work to be done, but I think they've taken a major step forward with what they have done and what the solicitor, Mr. David Knightley, has presented to us this evening. So I think that these words are necessary so they can be encouraged, and working together as a community, we can make sure that the data centers are not going to be part of our heritage.
Thank you.
Jim Prout, on Cat Hill Road, 930 Cat Hill Road,
Yes.
about 4 houses away from the potential area of where this can be built. There should be definitely, we need to talk about ordinances about how close they are to residents. That's a big deal. Going about, electricity. I own a business down in Horsham, so I'm part of PICO. Because of the data centers that have been built all over the place, yeah, they're masking the increased cost by, no, it's not extra, electric rates, but their infrastructure can't handle the increase in the power usage. A data center on average uses about 80,000, what would power 80,000 homes. So there's ways to manipulate and say, well, the rates are not going up, but when they need to increase the capacity and all this other stuff, it's an easy way. And they're going to pass most of it off to businesses and other things like that. And something else I want to share with you because of my connections with the business I'm in. I own a restaurant, Chick-fil-A in Horsham. So I have friends all over the area, and I want to share this noise with you. That's a buddy of mine in Vine Hill, New Jersey, with a data center half a mile away. This is the noise that he hears. 1 a.m. still hears this noise coming from his house or coming from the data center. So even though it could be decibels, it's not harmful to the ears, I don't know if anyone wants to listen to that non-stop.
You say that was? Yeah, where was that? If you know.
Vineland, New Jersey. Yeah, in Vineland, New Jersey, where the data center isn't even fully built yet. And that is the sound, the rumble. Yeah, it's not, okay, it's not going to hurt your ears, but what does that do to animals? What does that do to everything? Sleeping things, and that's not even including the light pollution by it all. So it's a really big deal that we need to.
I just want to clarify something.
Sure.
You just stated that's a half a mile away.
It's a half a mile away.
That noise?
That noise.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
2,600.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit, I don't know what else to say. I mean, and my buddy over here just brought up, I guess, something else that says, this was from somebody posted in a group. It says, hello, Sellersville. We received our most recent electric bill from PPNL. It went from $526 to $826. That's a $300 increase for 2 adults. I could only imagine what that will increase with a data center.
2.5 minutes are up.
Okay.
Hold it. We have to do this in order. If he's having yours, what's your name and your address, please? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
You have 2.5 more minutes.
Oh, okay. I didn't Well, and again, you know, being for us living on Cat Hill Road, we have a well system. I mean, there has to be protection for the water because data centers, God forbid, there's a fire, things of that nature. They can't use water to put out data center fires. It's going to be halogen. It's going to be chemicals that's going to leach into the drinking water that I'm going to drink, that my son, who's back there, would drink. I mean, to the point that my wife and I talked that if this data center gets built, we're moving. I don't want to listen to that constant hum at all.
I don't think nobody would.
No one would want to. So, you know, I don't care what kind of baloney that a data center representative is gonna say that's gonna be, oh, no. It's complete lies. And if you do enough research, the amount of water and usage and things, and then the chemicals, even if there's water lines that are being run down and are not using our well system and things, it's going to affect other communities because there's going to be chemicals and all sorts of stuff that gets dumped into it. I mean, look, again, I own a business in Horsham. Horsham's water is completely polluted. You know, I had to purchase a reverse osmosis machine in my restaurant to purify the water because of the amount of chemicals that are in the water in Horsham. And to the point that Horsham has a study through Temple University, they're getting because of the amount of cancer increase in Horsham. So Temple University is doing a 10-year study on the population of Horsham because of the increase in cancers. And you can't tell me that the crap that's going to be coming, excuse my language, through that data center is not going to end up causing sicknesses and things of that nature. Okay, that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other comment? Yes, ma'am. Ashley, right? And I think it's
Another time.
Adams.
Ashley Adams.
Ashley
Correct.
Adams.
Ridge Valley Road. So I think we can all agree that data centers are a novel area of regulation at the municipal, state, and federal levels, and that they're highly specific, they're highly technical due to their environmental hazards, demand, depletion of resources. And I want to know, has the township considered hiring anyone with specialized knowledge? With all due respect to the solicitor, he practices municipal law, and I understand his background is in criminal law. That is not environmental law. That is not tech law. I think that it might be worth exploring hiring professionals, environmental engineers, attorneys. They have consulting firms that we can look to see how others are going about this. You know, what model ordinances, if any, have been reviewed in drafting this. Like, public comment is great, but we are lay people. We are not experts here. So you're getting what we have done in our own independent research, be that as it may. You know, we've got Penn Future, who's provided a 22-page model ordinance with suggested provisions addressing water consumption, noise, and aesthetic concerns, with an accompanying 6-page document on the explanation of water withdrawal provisions. Ours is nowhere close to that. Their model ordinance specifically does not address power consumption because local governments have little to no power in regulating what power source a land use must use, who's allowed to connect to the power grid, where energy infrastructure is located, or how much it costs. We just can't do that. That's the concern, you know, is that right now, as according to Bucks County's Planning Commission website, West Rock Hill Township is the only township that has adopted data center ordinances in Bucks County to date. I know there's some others that have been proposed, but I think maybe we should make efforts to collaborate with surrounding municipalities, because what happens in West Rock Hill Township impacts everyone else. And what happens in Percy Borough impacts us, East Rock Hill. Like, this is, one of many. And that brings me to some concerns I've had with the discourse since the last meeting. Now, the last meeting, the board, you guys really tried to drive the point home that, let's shift the focus from the informal proposal, non-proposal for 215 Cat Hill. These regulations are supposed to be broad sweeping for any future data centers, Cat Hill or not. Now, the very next day, Supervisor Shermer took to social media and has continued to post. it kind of contradicts what we talked about last time with not focusing on just 215 Cat Hill. Some of those posts talk about things like an April 20th post, the issue of data centers has gone from a local issue, what neighbors like, don't like. It, it's becoming fundraising, get out the vote for political candidates. But the post says this has become detached from the actual sketch plan / drawing, which is referencing that proposal that we're supposed to not focus on because this is broad and at large. Now, again, April 16th and 30th, the
2.5
post.
minutes are up.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Name and address, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the April 16th and April 30th posts repeatedly, again, people did not review the questions and answers from the October 2025 zoning board meeting. References that 215 Cat Hill data center proposal, which again, we're not supposed to focus on, proposed air cooled, not water cooled. So what we talked about last time was a lot of water cooling. That's what some of these amendments have to do with. So in response to that spotlight on air cooled systems, I think as we talk about amendments, we need to talk about things like air cooled systems and take into consideration their inefficiency, their high operating costs, their large electricity demands, their greater carbon emissions, further limitations on effectiveness as hardware becomes higher performing and data center racks become denser and denser. Air-cooled systems also use water, just a little bit, but not in the same way. And, we have information that's starting to come to our fingertips now, like the American Society of Mechanical Engineers released a technical brief 2 days ago on field measurements of neighborhood scale temperature impacts. Now, the original ordinance says no heat beyond its boundaries. Have you ever tried to hold water? You can't really figure that out. We stand outside the boundary and we're like, yeah, it just feels the same. It's very expensive to do those studies, but that brief, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers that they just released found that air-cooled data centers dissipate waste heat directly into the surrounding air. That discharged air is heated to 14 to 25 degrees above the surrounding air temperature, which sounds like a lot, but if you step back, it's an increase. It's called a heat island. And heat islands in surrounding neighborhoods, which will be all of West Rock Hill Township, East Rock Hill, Percy Borough, Sellersville, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That can have temperature spikes as high as 4 degrees warmer. And it may seem imperceptible, but we just did a heat wave. The difference between 88 degrees and 92 degrees, well, now you're in the 90s. That's a lot. So what does that lead to? That leads to all of us turning on our air conditioners, heat islands that we don't address at all in these amendments. And I think that's why we need to start bringing professionals in. That would exacerbate local cooling demands and creates public health risks. So when they're masking their usage, our usage is going up as a direct impact of their environmental impact. None of that is addressed in these sets. And I think that there's just so much that we don't know that the Google machine cannot tell us at this point that we need to start talking about employing professionals. And, I want to harken back to Supervisor Shermer's post because he's posted several times at that October 2025 zoning board meeting, heard an informal question, that question being, quote, what about a data center instead of a cold storage warehouse? Would the neighbors hate that less?
2.5 minutes are up.
I'm concluding, don't worry.
Can I have your name and address? Okay, thank you, Chris.
Same as mine. So when we say what neighbors might hate less, that's like asking, would we rather be diagnosed with lung cancer or pancreatic cancer? None? The answer is none. That's an option. We can red tape this. We can. Don't tell me the local municipality's forgotten how to red tape. I know we know. See the chicken ordinance. And I'd like to conclude with, just as we go forward, Article 1, Section 27 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania provides that people have a right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of the natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. Pennsylvania's public natural resources are the common property of all people, including future generations yet to come. As trustee of these resources, the Commonwealth shall conserve and maintain them for the benefit of all people. So as we consider these and future amendments, I ask that the Board of Supervisors not be guided by what the neighbors will hate less, but be guided by this Commonwealth's Constitution. And remember that our natural resources are not yours to sell to the highest bidder. It is your duty to your constituents to preserve our natural resources and ensure that we have clean air, pure water, and with that, I yield.
All right. Any other comment? Okay, seeing none? I want to make sure everyone is clear. One person's post does not speak for the Board of the Supervisors, okay? I want everyone to know that. I want to make sure everybody's clear on that. This Board of Supervisors as a whole will guide, and we will do our best to protect the citizens of this township. That is our duty. Health, safety, welfare. Thank you. All right.
A motion to, if there's no more discussion or comment, a motion to introduce and authorize advertisement of draft ordinance 257.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye, ayes have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Second item is ordinance number 258, the proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance. You can think of this as sort of a corollary to the in-law suites or accessory residential apartment ordinance that we have. We always, as a township, want to make sure that somebody is telling the township, I'm building an in-law suite. It's not going to be an apartment. We're not going to rent it out. It's not going to be a business. It's not going to turn into a commercial building. We promise this is only ever for residential apartment for family members, not for charging. We want to do the same type of thing with buildings that are not proposed for residential living quarters necessarily. So there's certain zoning districts, and I'll just read them that we're looking at for this. The PC Plan Commercial, PC2 Plan Commercial, 2, PI Plan Industrial, VC Village Center, and IS Institutional Service District. If there's ever a somebody, owner of a property that has a residential use going on and they want to build another building outside, like a garage or a shed, we would be amending the zoning ordinance to create a requirement that that owner would have to enter into a declaration of covenants and restrictions with the township that, just like in-law suites would promise to the township and then be enforceable in the event of a violation, that any such building built as a residential accessory structure can never be converted to a non-residential use. If it is, it's prosecuted as a violation of the zoning ordinance, will be subjecting the property retroactively to the requirements of the subdivision and land development ordinance, and would require a deposit of escrow money for the preparation of the documents so that those fees are not coming out of taxpayer dollars, it's coming out of the developer's pocket. So that is the substance of ordinance 258. That's on your agenda for introduction and advertisement. I'll turn it over to the board for discussion or for public comment.
258. Okay. Anybody, other you two gentlemen have any concern, questions, issues?
I reviewed the ordinance, makes sense.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure we actually get stuff in writing. So it's clear that, no, you can't change this after we say yes.
Very good. So we're looking for authorization to move forward with it.
A motion to introduce and advertise, authorize
I'll
advertising.
entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion's been made by Hal, second by Dave. All those signify by saying aye.
Excuse me.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes my report for this evening.
Very good. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the solicitor report as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made.
I have a second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Moving forward, next on the agenda is the manager's report. Mr. Lippincott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is Energy Mountain LLC zoning hearing board application. The township received the first zoning hearing board application. This is for a special exception down off of Branch Road. I'm making the board aware of this zoning hearing board. The board can take a position of being neutral, can be against it, or can be in favor of it.
That's a non-permitted use. I'm not in favor of it. I'm opposed to it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not in favor of it.
So then I would need a motion from the Board of Supervisors to formally oppose the zoning hearing board application of Energy Mountain LLC and authorize the township to participate as a party in all proceedings related to this matter to ensure the protection of the township's natural resources and health, safety, and welfare of its residents.
I'll make that motion. Motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Thank you.
You got it.
The second item is appointing a special counsel for Energy Mountain LLC. I would suggest that the board appoint Lamb and McLaren as special counsel to represent West Rock Hill Townships in all matters related to Energy Mountain LLC to the zoning hearing board.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we got a motion
Second.
made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you. At the last meeting, it was brought up by some residents about non-disclosure agreements. You have a resolution, which would be 2026-04, that says, whereas various kinds of land development present significant land use considerations that can impact the township's infrastructure, environment, and general welfare of its residents, whereas the Board of Supervisors believes the public has a fundamental right to be informed and discussed of all negotiations, proposals related to land development projects from the earliest stages, and whereas non-disclosure agreements or confidentiality agreements between developers and public officials can impede the flow of information and create a perception of backroom dealing and conflict with the spirit of the Sunshine Act and the right to know and the MPC. Now let it be resolved by the Board of Supervisors of West Rock Hill Township that it prohibits non-disclosure agreements. They establish a formal policy that no member of the Board of Supervisors, no member of any township board or commission, no member of township staff, appointed professional consultants shall enter into or sign or verbally agree to any non-disclosure agreement or a confidential agreement with any developer, corporation, or any entity or potential land use development. It goes on with this scope of
Okay. I just want to mention, that's how it's always been done in the township. This is not changing anything. It's just reiterating in writing that our commitment to follow the Sunshine Act, the right to know law, and every other law that applies.
So we're looking for, I entertain a motion for adopting this resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. That is 2026 number 04. Okay. Motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
The next item, I would like the board to authorize legal action against Kringer Construction. As of this date, Kringer Construction has failed to honor its written agreement to begin the warranty work by the end of April 2026 and has neglected to respond to multiple requests of the township manager to schedule a meeting to review and provide a repair timeline. Given the contractor's unresponsiveness and persistent deficiencies documented by the township engineer, the staff believes it's all reasonable efforts to resolve the issue through direct communication has been exhausted. I suggest that the board makes a motion to authorize the township solicitor to initiate legal action against Krieger Construction for the non-performance and breach of warranty obligations under West Rock Hill Township 2025 Ultra Thin Wearing Course bid number 2025-01.
Make that motion.
Second
Motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I just want the public to know, this was a new thing we tried last year in the developments to try and make the roads last longer. It was a new concept. However, it was not done properly, and they were asked multiple times to come back and fix it, and they have denied our requests. So that's why we are taking legal action. All right. So moving forward.
The next item, the West Rock Hill Citizens Board regarding data centers. I'm seeking the board's direction in the formation of a West Rock Hill Citizens Board to assist in crafting version 3 of the ordinance, the data center ordinance. I'd like to place it on an upcoming meeting agenda to formally discuss action. What I'm specifically asking for tonight is to determine the interest of the board if they wish to establish it and to put an advertisement on the website calling for that.
I would like to see that.
Okay, I do too. So, Mr. Rice, are you going to make that in a motion that we
I will absolutely make.
we
that a
authorize
motion.
the manager to do that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion's made.
I will second that. Just
Second.
making sure, that should be a committee, I think, right? Advisory,
Committee, commission, either.
either way is fine.
Committee. Yes, it'll be a committee.
Okay.
Okay. So motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you.
I'd like, before I get to the last item, there is one additional item that did not make the agenda. I need a resolution from the Board of Supervisors so that I can send, get a permit to erect a banner across Ridge Road. Say happy day or the celebration for
250th birthday, America.
However, the Board of Supervisors must adopt a resolution, which is the same resolution. We just changed the name and the dates for every time we do it for September 5th. However, it needs to be in your minutes and you need to authorize.
Okay.
First, you need to amend the agenda to add it, and it's fine to do because it's de minimis and does not involve the spending of any funds. So first, it would be a motion to amend the agenda to add that as an item, and then you can take action on it.
I will make a motion to amend the agenda to add that item. Do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Shermer, second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay.
I'll make a motion to make that motion.
And now a motion to vote on the resolution.
I will second it.
Okay.
On the resolution, sorry.
So we have a motion made and a second on the resolution. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
Happy birthday, America.
All the ayes are done.
Hopefully we get it done before 4th of July.
Hopefully PennDOT approves it before that.
Yes. Okay.
The last item that I have is the annual cleanup day drawing.
Yes.
Where somebody has to pick 2 of these to get the awards. So
That lady's sitting right there on the floor.
Paul.
John Furlong, Catch Basin Road. The top of the list.
Okay.
Melissa Stein.
Melissa Stein and John Furlong. Okay, congratulations to Miss Melissa Stein and John Furlong. And thank everyone for participating in cleaning up the township. Very, very much appreciated. Okay,
That's all I have.
all right. Okay, moving forward, I will first entertain a motion for approval of the manager's report as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Motion's been made.
I'll second.
Second, all those signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, any old business?
One point of old business, I would ask that we disperse the budgeted amount to Holiday House because we are in the process of filling the pool, getting the pool going, getting the food stand running, and hiring and paying guards. So I'll make a motion.
Is there a second to Mr. Shermer's motion?
I could second that motion. I'd like to see, moving forward. The details of.
Okay. I am not going to vote to approve the 13,000 extra because they already have $290,000. And I had asked to see how they spend that $290,000. However, there is a motion made and a second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, I'm a nay. Ayes carry. Okay. Any other old business?
I have nothing else.
Okay. Mr. Wright?
No, nothing.
Any new business?
In regards to the new committee that's going to be, how do we want to collect names and
He's gonna put it.
you're going to put that, besides you're going to put that out there and then,
I'm going to put it on the website. There's a volunteer application. It's a general form.
okay, that's,
They would check other and then put it down and then I'll take them and I'll give them to the board.
okay. That's why I just want to make sure that way it was spelled out so everybody understands what they need to do. Thank you.
It's not your time to talk right now.
Okay.
Okay.
The only thing I have for new business is that we do have some Jeep Amazon home plate, first, second, third base, and a pitcher's strip over at Holiday House. They're piled up on top of the manhole cover on the lower field if anybody feels like playing sandlot baseball. And we're also doing the penguin plunge, and so we have a bunch of inflatable penguins for people to use.
Sunday fun days.
Yes.
Okay, well, this isn't really new business. This is partially old business, but Allentown Road, the pulling out at Ridge Valley Road at the churches. It's like you're almost getting seasick when you turn the corner there. I'd like to see us reach out to PennDOT and see what is the plan to fix that situation, as well as the new anti-skid material they put on Finland Road and up to the S bend there on Allentown Road. That's starting to come apart. Thank you. All right, now, if there's no other new business, I'll entertain public comment.
Just point of clarification for Michael Broder, 907 Cat Hill Road. In regards to the volunteer, is there going to be preference to residents of the area first for this data center, or is it going to be open up to non-West Rock Hill Township residents?
It would only be West Rock Hill.
I just wanted to make sure. I haven't
Yeah.
looked at the form yet. That's why.
No,
Well, he didn't put it on yet,
Well,
but he will.
he says a generic form, I just want to make
it's
sure.
generic because you can say planning commission, park and rec, joint rec authority.
And do you normally ask for credentials of the individual?
They'll write it. It'll be up to the board. So
The board will decide.
Just a point of clarification, that's all.
It's usually the Park and Rec Board are residents, same way that Sozo Borough, their Park and Rec, their Planning Commission, they're normally residents. That's why there's a distinction between the commission, like we have the Park and Rec. Sorry.
Let me cut to the chase, because we don't
both.
normally go online and see a lot of people inflaming the situation here and whatnot. I'd like to make sure we don't have those outsiders who only come on, try to go on board to inflame the situation as opposed to intellectually address the issue. Obviously, preferably residents first. Okay, thank you.
In regards to that, I'd actually like to offer my time to be on that as a board liaison.
Well, we'll discuss that, yes. Thanks. Well, any other public comment? Yes, sir?
Scott Regal, 4302 Bart. So there's some updates to the Jesmont substation, and a number of the vehicles that have been coming through the neighborhood managed to damage the corner of Barton Gold Mine. I believe they also damaged the corner of Simmons and Barton. I had actually reached out to, apologize. Can't remember their names, but whoever's improving. Back and forth communications, I didn't really get anywhere. And they said that they were going to send some people out to take a look at the damage to see if they could fix the corner. There's a sign, there's some guardrails that are damaged. So it's been since like October.
that is Barton
Gold Mine. So they damaged the sign in the corner, and then there's a guardrail. If you're going towards county line on the right side, they hit the guardrail at the bridge of Simmons and Barton. They took out the corner there as well. I sent them pictures. I actually
for BPNL.
Yeah, whoever's improving the substation there. I have a contact here, but I haven't gotten anywhere with her. So,
We have been working through our own issues with.
yeah, so I
They we sent to him. Thought I responded. I'll have to check my email.
yeah, it's been a while, and I've left her several voicemails, etc. But just some things to clean up there.
BPNL is sometimes difficult to get them to, but we'll continue.
Yeah, I think her name's Jessica Mickelson. So
Oh, okay. I have a different one.
okay, all right.
Yeah, I also took out the Gold Mine Road sign on Ridge and Gold Mine a while ago.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Chris Link, 119 West Branch Road. My backyard is proposed for the lithium battery storage facility. I know it came up. I know Chris Durstein brought it up about doing an ordinance similar to what we're doing for the data center. At this point, this appears to me to be much more imminent that it's happening based on the fact that they do have an application in. I'm requesting that the board puts forth an ordinance for the lithium battery storage facility. similar to what's being done with the data center, because there's been a lot of talk about the data center, but to date, there's no applications. And my curiosity is, if an application materializes, and this may be more of a question than a comment, but if an application for a data center would materialize, are they only limited by the ordinance that's in place? Or are they also limited by proposals to that ordinance, to changes to that ordinance?
This is public comment right now.
Okay, okay. So,
But we will take your comments under advisement.
okay, that's all I've got.
Very
Thank you.
duly noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
My name is Matthew Sexton, 160 Bosque Court. I just have a plea to the board. Whenever you guys do end up making the rules for the citizens board, consider the Franconians and Tuffordians who live across County Line Road who would be affected by it should anything pop up there, being included in the board. That's all I would ask.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Being none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment into executive session.
I make that motion.
Okay, motion's been made.
I will second it.
Second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your input. And have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You too.
Yes.
Hey, Chief, you looked really good in that white. I like that. I was hoping you were going to wear it tonight.